Welcome back to Week 14 of Rockin' Bears. What do you think? How was your Thanksgiving?
Wonderful. Had a wonderful big fat meal. Won't go into the details. I hope everyone else had a good meal as I did.
Yes, and the games were also pretty good, something to feast on. Some games were upset, some games were good, but let's go ahead and move on to this week. Starting us off, Dallas looking for redemption after last week's turkey game against Chicago, who actually snuck a win out against Detroit. I think it was undeserved. I think Dallas, this is a must-win for them. Chicago's playing for pride at this point. They're hot right now. I don't think it's enough. Dallas needs this to keep it alive for the season. I'm taking Dallas. Rock, what do you think?
Well, Bears have won 3 out of 4. It's going to be 35 degrees. It's going to be windy. Dak's from Mississippi State.
Sure.
All right. Cooper's going to play, but he's going to re-injure that hamstring first quarter.
He'll get cold.
Hey, this last week they finally let Mitch throw over the middle instead of all these 7-yard dinks and
Sure.
square outs. And of course, you can bet that the Bears have been watching what Beasley did to the Cowboys,
Yep.
100 and some yards. And I'm going to take the Bears to win this one outright.
All right, Bears outright. All right, we're
Outright.
different. Moving on, Carolina is going to see Atlanta. Carolina, their season might be downriver because they're without Riverboat Ron anymore. I think they might find a way to get the game against Atlanta. Atlanta gave 9 sacks away last week, and they can't run the season. So I think that's going to give Carolina maybe a chance to get a win here on the Road Rock. What do you think?
Well, Riverboat Ron made a speech. He goes, when I was hired, this team was 2-14. I won 3 straight divisions. Jerry Jones, pay attention. Right after you fire Jason Garrett tonight, hire this guy. I think that Carolina is going to lose this game simply because Atlanta's won 7 of the last 8, and they're going to win this game.
7 of the last 8?
Atlanta has won 7 of the last 8 of this matchup.
Okay,
Yeah. They've only got 3 wins out of the season. Come on, man.
Not the season. Moving on, Indy's going to see Tampa. Indy, I think this is a chance for Brissett to bounce back. The Tampa Bay, they can stop the run, but they're bad against the pass. So I think that gives chance for Brissett to find a rhythm. They need this game to stay alive. I think Indy's going to have this game on the Road Rock. What do you think?
Must game for Indy with Tennessee and Pittsburgh both being 7-5. Indy 6-6. Mac could be back, which would be real helpful.
That'd be good.
You don't know which Jameis is going to show up.
True.
Therefore, I'm just going to flip a coin and take Indy.
All right. Moving on, Miami's going to see the Jets. The Jets lost to Cincinnati. Miami actually beat Philly in a pretty convincing manner. I think the Jets might be fearing the beard right now with Fitzpatrick. And his receiver Parker, who's actually had a great season on the Dolphins, which only got 2 wins. So I think Miami is hot right now. I'm taking them to go up north and get a win at the Jets. Rock, what do you think?
Well, it's mighty cold in New York compared to Miami. Of course, the Jets quarterback is not a cold weather quarterback yet. That said, they've got a better running game. They're going to win this game in a close one. Jets win close.
Sure. On that weather conversation, I'm pretty sure Darnold actually played at USC, so he played at West.
Ooh, all right.
There you go. Said about him
There
being
you
a
go.
quarterback is
There you
pretty
go.
true.
All righty.
Moving on, one of the biggest games of the day. San Francisco going to see New Orleans. San Francisco lost that close one to Baltimore. They had a great game. New Orleans, Drew Brees looks unstoppable right now. He's back in full force. I'm going to be saying San Francisco 49ers are going to be left in the breeze in the Superdome. Right? What do you think, New Orleans?
Well, one of the things that I found out is that San Francisco plays really well versus non-mobile quarterbacks, which is Drew Brees. Now, we got an experienced coach, Sean Payton, versus Shanahan, who's a great motivator and has a great young team. We're going to be hearing about these guys for years. Mm-hmm. Are they healthy? Is Kittle going to play? We don't know these things on Thursdays, but because you're in the Superdome, you have to take New Orleans -3, and that's who I'm taking.
Yeah, Kittle has to play. This game's must win for San Francisco, so if he's good enough, he should play. Detroit, I'm saying wow to Blau, and is this Bo 2.0? Detroit had a great game. They gave it away at the end like they tend to be doing this season. Minnesota lost in a heartbreaker to Seattle, so I think Minnesota is going to bounce back at home. Skol.
Okay, this one to me has upset or super cover all over it because you've got Marvin Jones, you've got Galladay, you've got this really smart Blau playing his second game, had all week to practice. He didn't know he was going to play last week. and they rushed for 140, 105 yards versus the Bears. Had not that interception by the Bears happened, they would have beat the Bears.
Yep.
It's a 13-point line. I'm just saying, jump all over Detroit. Minnesota will probably win, but so yeah,
13's a lot.
13's way too many. The interdivision. Cook may not play. Cook says, "Well, I'm going to play." Zimmer says, "Well, that's not his decision." Like, oh well.
Their backup's good. I forget his name, number 25. He's showed some promise.
He's
so
all right.
They could rest Dalvin Cook and still probably get a W, but let's move on.
Will Thielen be playing? Yes, he's got the hamstring, but once again,
I think between Diggs and Rudolph, they got plenty of
Diggs
tools.
is also banged up. Minnesota's banged up, man.
Okay.
13 points sounds like a. All right,
Maybe a play. That's another good cover play. Denver, who got a squeak out win, a field goal to beat the Chargers last week, is going to Houston, who also had a great game. Their offense is hot. Their defense is not right now. So they had a good show last week, but they're still bottom of the barrel in most stats. I think Houston's going to win a shootout, and I think Locke and Sutton, the Denver duo, are going to find a way to maybe get a touchdown or two.
You know, Houston's defense isn't really that good, but considering Fuller's back, Hopkins and Watkins, and they got a running game and a great running quarterback. They're due for a momentum letdown, but they're giving up 10, and I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, I think Houston's got their eyes on the division, so I think they got a lot on the line.
Absolutely.
Washington's going to see Green Bay. Washington ran for 300 on the yard last week between Geis, who's looking nice, and AP, who's always been pretty good. He was just 99 yards, just a yard short of 100. Rodgers at home, I'm going to take it. He had 4 touchdowns last week. He's doing his December Aaron Rodgers stuff. The Green Bay has more on the line, so I'm taking Green Bay at Lambeau. What do you think?
Well, of course the Packers are going to win this game. It's a 13.5-point spread. This is one to, well, you don't play teasers, but tease the Packers down or don't play the game. But yes, Green Bay wins easily.
Green Bay wins
handily.
All right, moving on to the Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. Baltimore is going to see Buffalo. I'm pretty sure we're different on this game. Baltimore, I think they're going to be able to run all over Buffalo. They have a better defense and a better running attack. Buffalo, they have a good win-loss season this season, but 8 of their 9 have come to opponents that have less than 500 on the season. So I think Buffalo has been untested besides Dallas. That was a glimpse, but I don't think they're going to be able to repeat a blowout like they did against Dallas. So I'm taking Baltimore to win big.
Well, the second game of the year, Buffalo outstatted New England. They should have won the game. They held Brady to 140 yards. Yep. Jackson's going to have to win this game with his legs. Josh Allen also runs the ball very well. He's only 400 yards behind Jackson. So it's only a 3-point game. You kind of got to take Baltimore, but you don't because you don't know what the weather is.
True.
So I'm going to take Buffalo for now.
Like Buff?
Assuming it's going to be ugly.
Yeah. We'll have to get the 10-day forecast out.
And if it's not ugly, then I'm going to go with Baltimore. So I'm covering my butt both ways.
All right. I think Baltimore's going to win by 14 at least, but we'll see. All right. Cincinnati, who got the red rifle firing again. They're hosting Cincinnati. Cleveland's going to be able to run the ball like they did last week, but they didn't get a win against Pittsburgh. Baker needs to be big at home. They need this game to keep the spirit alive. I'm taking Cleveland. Rock, what do you think?
Well, in my opinion, Freddie Kitchens should have been fired weeks ago. I mean, that guy's got great talent. They got a great team, and their big defensive star, I believe, is still suspended. And the Red Rifle, I mean, what's he playing for? The same thing Manning's playing for, to be traded away for a 3rd-round pick so he can coach one of the great 5 quarterbacks coming back. This is an 8.5-point line, but it's at Cleveland. I'm going to have to take Cleveland to cover.
All right, Cleveland to cover. Moving on, we got the Chargers going to Jacksonville. West headed out east. I think Gordon's firing up. I think that Chargers have lost 4 games closely, so their season should have been looking different. Jacksonville, they folded on Foles. Jacksonville might have mustache madness. I don't want to bet on it. I'm taking the Chargers to get a win. Rock, what do you think?
Well, I'll say this. Miles Jack is out for Jacksonville, so Jacksonville won't be jacking them up. That said, this is misused. Are we going to keep this guy? Foles is out now. They're going to give him $19 million for next year or more. And this is this is Michigan's chance. And Jackson's at home. This is the West Coast, East Coast. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
Alrighty. A big game is the next one. Tennessee, who's on a hot streak, going to Oakland, who's on a not streak. Tennessee, they're going to let Henry loose. Tannehill's going to pass when he needs to deep, and he's going to protect the ball. He's going to be able to run when he needs to. So I think Tennessee looks like a more complete team right now. Going to see Oakland, taking them on the road. What do you think?
Yeah, Tennessee's won 5 of the last 6 with Tannehill, and I believe that they're going to win this one. This is only a 3-point game, and I think Tennessee's going to win this one by 10.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on to the big game of the afternoon. Kansas City going to New England. Kansas City is looking good, but I don't think they're looking great. Pat's not been playing up to his potential. 2 games in a row, he's at less than 200 yards. So I think that has some question marks for me. If Pat has 4 touchdowns, Kansas City all day. I think New England's going to outcoach him and get the game at Foxborough. The Foxborough advantage is always there for them, so I'm taking them at home in a close one. What do you think?
Brady's disgusted. He's had his worst year of his career. You've got, with Kansas City, you've got Watkins, you've got T.Y. Hill, and you have Kelsey, and you have a running game, and you have Mahomes.
Sure.
Belichick takes away your best player. Well, there's no best player to take away.
Tyreek is their deep threat.
Yeah, and then Kelsey catches about 9 passes for 120 yards. I'm taking Kansas City big upset.
Alrighty, moving on to the next game. We got Pittsburgh going to see Arizona. Pittsburgh, they're hot. Their defense is tough. They had 5 sacks last week. They have 43 on the season, which is 3rd in the NFL. And Arizona, they're going to have their hands full. They can't stop the pass. And their offense has been okay with the young quarterback, so I'm taking Pittsburgh to keep it going. Rock, what do you think?
Well, they're 7-5. They're, I think Tomlin's one of my favorite coaches, one of 3, and they've got those 3 defensive studs, Watt and Bush and the other new guy,
Humphreys,
the
safety.
Yeah. So they got to stop Kyler, who's going to be scrambling around. But you can bet that Mike Tomlin's got a really good game plan here. And this is a low line. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win this game outright and cover.
Alrighty, moving on to the Sunday night game. Seattle, coming off a Monday night big win over Minnesota, is going out west, or going down south. They're already out west. They're going to see the Rams at the Coliseum. The Rams showed some signs of life last week. I don't think they can bank on Gurley getting them a win against Seattle. They have too many tools, and Pete Carroll's kind of a genius. So I'm taking Seattle to keep the momentum. They're ready to clinch home field for the playoffs. Rock, what do you think?
Well, what's funny is the last time these guys played in Seattle, it was 30-29. The Rams missed a field goal. Seattle had that interception that bounced off the guy's leg, rolled on his body.
Yeah, some luck.
Seattle was lucky to win that. That's when Goff was still good. All right, now
different Rams.
Maybe he's coming out against Arizona last week. Maybe he's not. But you got Metcalf, Lockett, Josh Gordon's playing well. He's broke in now.
Yep.
You've got Carson. You've got Penny. You've got too many offensive tools. Seattle's going to win this game big. Goff's going down, and so are the Rams.
Alrighty, moving on to the Monday night game. We got the New York Football Giants going to see the Philadelphia Football Eagles. Jones is out with a foot injury, so Eli's going to be getting the start. This is the beginning of his farewell tour.
Coming.
I think Barkley's going to have to carry the load to be able to get the game away from Philly. Wentz has his tools back. He's got Aguilar back. He's got Alshon Jeffries back. So I think they're going to win a close one. And probably 27-24. Rock, what do you think?
Well, this is a pretty big line, and this is what Eli's doing. He's doing the same thing the Red Rifles doing. They want to have that game where they can get a chance to start for a team that's going to take one of those top 5 quarterbacks and be the mentor. I think Eli's going to have a really, really good game. I think Carson Wentz has been throwing a lot of grounders. He has his tools back. I think they might be taking these guys for granted, and they lost to Miami. So I'm going with it. New York Football Giants to win outright.
Alrighty. So, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can check in with us every week and see how you're doing versus us. Comment if you like any picks or disagree. We'd love to chat with you guys. Thanks. Tune in next week.
Let's go Bears and fire Jason.
Fire Jason, fire the red.